Hi, I'm Tess,
Hi, I'm Sarah, and we are.
the Happy Edit Sisters. Happiness isn't just being happy, it's an embodied feeling that starts with how we approach life, our actions, and our mindset. Everyone has a range of emotions, and that's a good thing.
Join us as we dive into what it means to be happy and how we build a foundation for happiness through different lenses. Hello, Tess. How are you?
Hello, Sarah. How are you? I'm doing very good myself. A bit stuffed up though, so if I like sneeze in the middle of this or if I sound a bit stuffy, then that's why. Allergies. Everything is blooming, which is beautiful, but it also means that my allergies are just having lots of fun right now.
Especially being in the new house as well, with having lots more greenery around. I'm sure
Yeah,
that's adding to it.
yes, I definitely think so. Definitely think so. So how is life for you over there?
Good, good. I've got a bit of a cold, not allergies, bit of a sniffle as well, actually, and a bit of a sore throat today. But yeah, I went to the gym this morning. That seemed to help, just kind of like settle everything down. And then just before coming on here, I went and took Rosa for a 20-minute, 30-minute walk. So it was nice to get out and about while it's not raining. But don't tell
Yeah.
anyone it's not raining because it might just jinx it.
That's how I felt this morning on my walk. It's like, it's not raining. Take advantage. And the clouds tell me that's changing very soon. Um,
Ah, it's just getting rid of it before we come on Sunday. That's what it's doing. I keep telling you this.
exactly. Exactly. Fingers crossed that that is the case. So I am really excited for today's episode because we have a guest that's actually been on the podcast before. Lillie Jewell. She's coming back on to share her nutrition knowledge with us. And so just to give a little background, if you didn't catch the episode with Lillie before, go catch that because it's awesome and you should definitely have a listen to it. And B, let me introduce her just in case you haven't. So Lillie is a yoga teacher and a nutritionist who is living in India on an ashram. She's been there for the past decade. She and her husband, Krish, own and run Ayur Yoga Eco Ashram, which is a non-sectarian ashram in the south of India that offers yoga and Ayurveda retreats on a riverside organic agroforest. And having been there and spent time there, it's a beautiful place. So if you're ever curious about spending some time in India and studying yoga or going on a retreat or doing Ayurveda, um, please go check them out because it's amazing. We have her link in the podcast notes. And over the past 10 years, Lillie has learned and taught with scholars of traditional yoga and Ayurveda. Her perspective is nature has made her a mediator between East and West, navigating the nuanced waters of culture, philosophy, and science. And in an effort to bridge the gap between this ancient science of Ayurveda and the evidence-based nutrition, she is now having completed or just about to complete her master's degree in human nutrition and functional medicine. Now, when do you finished or you just about to finish, Lillie?
I finished. I am done. Yes, I completed it.
Darling,
Yes.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, many congratulations. I know you put loads and loads of hard work into that, so I'm sure you are incredibly excited to be able to say,
Yeah, the hard work was worth it, and I'm so happy to be done.
"Done." How did you celebrate your finishing your master's in nutrition?
Um, well, I must confess, I had a glass of champagne with a couple of very dear friends, and yeah, just that was the most of the celebration, but I am celebrating so much more in my heart and just enjoying the extra time that I have now to do the things that I love to do, that I wasn't able to do before so much. So
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I'm glad you had a glass of champagne though and some friend time just to like mark the occasion because that is important. What is one thing that you are able to do now that you're enjoying with your free quote unquote time that you weren't able to do before?
Uh, go for walks in the afternoon and just like listen to music or listen to the birds without thinking of all of the things that I have to do and like needing to get back onto the computer. So I feel like I'm enjoying like each present moment more because I don't have this like shadowing to do in my mind. Definitely starting to pick up some books that I've been like wanting to read for fun and starting to plan also. I'm working with a mentor and a nutrition supervisor, so starting to work with clients in nutrition and working on some nutritional workshops and retreats that we can offer here to help people integrate some of the tools that they learn back home, which I feel like the easiest tool to practice some of these mindful techniques is with food. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Oh, that sounds amazing. It's so good to have that time into after you've been spending so much time studying and focusing on one thing to just have that time where you can put your energies into other things.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that myself. I've got another 6 months to go.
You're
And
nearly
I'm like,
there.
oh, so close, so close.
You're very close. The light is coming in through the tunnel. You can see it. You're
And
almost
then
there.
that's almost the dangerous part though, as well, though, because you're like, it's so close, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I've got all this. No, I don't. But we're getting there. We're getting there. No, I'm super, super, super excited for you. Congratulations for having finished that. And so this season, we are talking about the senses, which is why we wanted to have you back because you have a lot of amazing knowledge about nutrition and taste and the body as a holistic being. And so we thought like this is perfect to have Lillie come in and talk about this. So just kind of get started, what do taste and nutrition have in common? This might seem like a really silly question and really obvious, but at the same time, maybe it's not so obvious.
Yeah, well, taste and nutrition, you can take it in a few different paths, right? So we have, different tastes like salty and sweet and bitter. Ayurveda, I believe, has 6 tastes. They also include those three as well as pungent and astringent. And I'm missing one. I'm forgetting what the 6th one is. But different tastes can signal different things in the body. Well, we can crave different tastes, and that can sometimes indicate certain things that our body or our cells are wanting or needing. So perhaps we're craving salty foods, maybe we're dehydrated and we need the salt, or perhaps we are craving fatty foods, so perhaps our body is needing the fat. Perhaps we're craving sweet things, so our body is craving maybe the glucose, the sugar in the food, or different types of vitamins and minerals, like in fruit. If let's say you crave a lot of oranges, perhaps your body is really craving for that vitamin C. So the different tastes can help us understand what the individual or what the cells in our body want or need. But we also have this kind of challenge in especially today's world where we have so many delicious types of food and different flavors and tastes and textures. We can kind of get confused, like, what is my body really craving? And so I really like this idea of 9 types of hunger, which have been outlined by a woman named Jan Chosen Bays, who is a pediatrician and a Zen teacher in the US. She wrote a book called Mindful Eating. And she outlines these 9 types of hunger, which I think are so relevant for today's topic and your podcast around the senses. Because her 9 types of hunger include eye hunger, touch hunger, ear hunger, nose hunger, mouth hunger, stomach hunger, cellular hunger, mind hunger, and heart hunger. So each one of these types of hungers can really indicate to us, what is my body really asking for? What do we really desire when I grab something from the kitchen or I order something from a restaurant?
I think that's so fascinating. And it makes sense, right? Like depending on what we have around us, if we see something or if we like touch something, like this will like inspire us, go, oh, I want this or I want that. Um, I I often get this with with bananas actually. It sounds kind of weird, but whenever I see a banana, I'm like, oh my God, I want a banana. Like I need it. I need it now. But if I don't see it, then it's not an issue. Like I won't even think about it. But for some reason, bananas for me are one of those foods that like, yeah, I see it and I'm like, I need that.
Have you been like that since a kid, or did that develop
Yep.
over time?
Nope.
Oh,
Ever since I was a kid, yeah.
uh-huh. Well, I don't know what that means, but perhaps you are craving, the potassium. Perhaps in another life you were a monkey.
Maybe. Yeah, that would make sense. I do like to spend time in trees.
But yeah, and another, I'm making a joke, but um, it could be also the reason why I asked about the childhood is because maybe you have this subconscious memory of uh, the comfort of eating a banana, maybe with somebody you love, or over a certain, time with family or friends, or that maybe a comfort with your mom or something. And so your heart is desiring that again when you see bananas.
It's totally possible. It's totally possible. So bananas were usually something that we had on hand at the house. And, like even as a kid, like, yes, if you want a banana, go and have one, and it's not like it's not a hard thing to like prepare for yourself, you just kind of unpeel it. Something I've always appreciated about bananas. So yeah, I mean, it's very possible that it's that comfort of, when I was a kid and that was just something we could easily grab and very possible.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting, isn't it? When you were talking, Lily, it made me think about when I was pregnant and how things that I might have liked before I was pregnant that I then didn't like, or the things that I really wanted whilst I was pregnant. And we recorded yesterday actually, and we were recording some fun facts about the senses. And one of the things that I mentioned then was that then the things that I liked whilst I was pregnant is the things that the girls like now. So like
Uh-huh.
spicy food. So then my eldest loves spicy food now, and the things that I didn't like, then my youngest doesn't like it neither.
Hmm.
So it's really interesting how
That
it's
is
all
very
connected.
interesting. I feel like I did read one research article once that was indicating that it's possible that what the mother is eating, the baby will grow in affinity to. It's very, very possible. Yeah. And if something you don't like, then you have that aversion to, it could very possibly also create this aversion in the baby as well. Yeah, that's cool.
I do think though so my mom, when my eldest brother was in utero, my parents lived in Switzerland. And my mother took full advantage of Swiss chocolate. And my eldest brother absolutely hates chocolate. So I think she maybe OD'd him. Like he's like, no, no more of that. I had enough.
Very possible too. Yeah, that's funny.
So going back to these nine hungers, can you go into more detail about them and like just like how like maybe we can, because obviously it has to do with our different senses. And so, or maybe not obviously, but that's what it seemed like a lot of them had to do with our senses and like how we connect to our senses. Would you say that that is correct?
Yeah. And how different senses trigger different types of hunger. Like with the eye hunger, for example. Let's say we've been out at a restaurant and we've had a full meal and oh, we're so full. And the dessert tray comes walking by and you see all the delicious desserts and your eyes just get so hungry. And even though your stomach is saying, no, I'm full, you get a dessert anyway, because let's face it, once we see the dessert, our eyes have engaged, our mouth starts to water again, our digestive system starts revving up again to take more in. So definitely eye hunger can also be triggered by advertisements and TV. So like The Big Bang Theory. The actors are always eating on The Big Bang Theory.
Are
And
they?
I
I've never
noticed
noticed.
that
That's awesome.
yes, constantly. And when I watched The Big Bang Theory, I was constantly triggered to want to go and pick up a snack because I saw these people eating. And so, advertisements as well. As we were watching TV, we see a commercial for some candy bar, and all of a sudden we get triggered to be hungry for something sweet. I really like Jan Chosenbay's idea of how to satisfy these hungers, because each one of them, when we start to become aware of them, like, what do we do with them? So what does eye hunger really mean? Our eyes like to see beauty. And so when we feel eye hunger, we can first notice, maybe we're looking at our food. Enjoy the eye hunger. Look at the details of the food, the color, the texture, the shape of the food. This is now we're connecting with the food on a deeper level than just shoveling the food into our mouths. So we're seeing the food, we're appreciating how it looks. And perhaps we're not really hungry, but we see that dessert tray walk by and maybe we think, well, we shouldn't have dessert because we're full. And this can happen when we're at home as well. We feel full, but we have this eye hunger stimulated. So then what can we do? Perhaps we can look at something beautiful. We can look at a flower, notice the color and the shape of the flower. We can watch the sunset and become in awe of how beautiful the sunset is. And really, we're feeding our eyes with beauty. And that can be satisfying for that type of hunger.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because as you were talking then, the saying that came to my head was eyes too big for your belly. And that's something that my nana would have said all the time. So if and it would be at things like a buffet or something like that, or where somebody would have kind of put loads of stuff on the plate because it all looks so good. And then they'd leave half of it because they were too full. And she'd be like, oh, eyes are too big for the belly.
Or in my case, I eat it anyway, and then I'm just like bursting at the seams, like, why?
Right. So then like, what is it that makes you eat all of the food on your plate? Can you recall any one of those times, like why you decided to eat all of the food on your plate despite being full?
Oh, because I feel guilty because I grabbed it and like I've taken that food, so I should eat it,
You
like
don't want to waste it?
don't want to waste it. Going back to like my childhood and mom being like, you have to eat everything that's on your plate. If you put it on your plate, you have to eat it, you
Mhm.
know? And
So
yeah, I
that
mean
is
that's
that is
definitely.
the that falls under the category of mind hunger. So it's our mind also has these thought patterns and these reasons, this logic to eat something or not to eat something. And definitely, I think a lot of us experience that where we don't want to waste the food, so we eat anyway. Um, so that's very valid. That's very valid.
Yeah, no, I that makes me think. So when I was oof, maybe 10, we had pork chops for dinner. And there wasn't really enough to keep for for leftovers. And so mom was like, okay, well, everyone try to eat as much as possible, or maybe we were going on a trip. I don't remember why, but for some reason we weren't going to keep them as leftovers. And I remember thinking, well, I don't want them to go to waste. So I just sat there and ate the rest of the pork chops. This is like, instead of putting them in the garbage after like the whole meal and we'd already finished, we'd done, everything. We were washing the dishes and I just sat there and I just ate the pork chops. And I
I
remember
think we've
totally
all
regretting
done
it
that.
after. Like, why
Yeah,
why
oh
did I
my
do
gosh.
that? Like, but well, they can't let them go to waste. Yeah, no, totally. Mind hunger. Definitely.
Yeah. Um, and mind hunger can really be confusing because then it gets into, we start to think about, oh, I should eat this or I shouldn't eat that, and this type of food is good and this type of food is bad. Um, but in a nutrition perspective, yes, there are foods that are more healthful and some foods that are less healthful. But there are no good and bad foods. Like our body needs these nutrients, right? We have these 6 main nutrients, which is water and salt and sugar, so carbohydrates, fat, um, vitamins and minerals, and we need all of those, and it's in all of the food. So no food is good or bad. It's everything in moderation. And when we go back to eating because we feel guilty to not waste it, that's a whole nother, I think, ethical conversation. But we can just recognize that, right? And deal with it in our own ways. Of course, it's harder when you're traveling and you don't have the accessibility to, say, compost your leftovers or things like that.
Makes me think of, so I suppose the kind of therapist in me, I'm thinking about maybe people that I've worked with who might have quite difficult relationships with food, with nutrition, and whether that then develops into an eating disorder of some kind as well. And it'd be interesting, Lily, to kind of, if it's okay, to hear your perspective on kind of how those nine types of hunger maybe kind of impacts on the development of those eating patterns.
Um, Definitely. Uh, One thing that really pops out to me is something that a lot of our guests here in the ashram who go through Ayurveda treatments, there's a certain Ayurveda treatment in which individuals are encouraged to only eat when they're hungry, when they feel hungry. And there are many people who realize they don't know what hunger really feels like. And this can revolve around so many different things, right? So our stomach can gurgle and feel hungry at certain times of the day because we're used to a certain eating schedule, right? So then it just kind of turns on to feel hungry, even if it's not hungry, even if it's still full. But then there are all of these other hungers can also play into how a person feels hungry. So when we ask somebody to only eat when their stomach really feels hungry, then they have to kind of reflect, and I think subconsciously reflect on these 9 types of hunger, because they're in the ashram and we have a common dining hall where everyone eats together. So they see the other food that guests are eating. So they have that hunger cue from their eyes, from their nose, and maybe, from their mind. But they have to really reflect, am I really hungry? Like, is my stomach asking for food? Or what part of me is asking for food?
Yeah, that's really oh, sorry. Go.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking that, that's really interesting. Like, as when you're thinking about reconnecting with yourself in general, right? And creating those connections is like one of the first things that I ask people is, do you notice when you're hungry? Do you notice when you're thirsty? And creating those moments of interoception where you're like understanding what your body is actually asking for, right? And it's really hard. It's hard for a lot of us because we just push through it all. We just like go, okay, like this is either the routine that I have, as you were saying, or this is what other people are doing, or this is an expectation that I have of myself, whatever it might be. And so like taking that time to really tune in and observe without judgment can be very, very difficult. And just understanding, okay, this is how my body is responding. What is it asking for? What is it looking for? What do I need to do to support myself in that way? And I mean, I know from like myself, like I generally don't wake up hungry, so I don't think, oh, I'm gonna like eat, and then I can go way too long without eating, until I get to the point where I'm like I'm kind of melting because I don't have like that blood sugar in my body. It's like I can't handle this, right? But like I don't necessarily notice it. So it's like it's something for me that I struggle with and that I am, constantly working on improving is like, okay, how can I, get the food when I need it and then not give myself too much when I don't, right? And it's not just doing it because it's on a schedule, but also like, what does my body ask for? So I, even from my own perspective, I definitely understand that is difficult.
Yeah,
Or it can
and
be.
yeah, it's so difficult because, all of these different cues are happening in our body, and we won't really start to understand them until we start to listen to them. And we really can only do that through increased awareness. And I think we can really practice this while eating. So not only at the beginning of a meal, checking in with ourselves. How is my stomach feeling? Is it empty? Is it half full? Is it completely full? How is my heart feeling? Am I feeling anxious or lonely? Am I feeling happy and joyful? How does the food smell? Is the food intoxicating and inviting me to eat it? Am I not enjoying the smell of the food, but I feel like I should eat it anyway, or I don't want to eat it? All of these different things. So that's at the beginning of the meal. And then we can integrate this while eating as well, eat a few bites, enjoy the meal, with the mouth feel, the mouth hunger, we really like, to feel the texture, chewing the food. The more we chew the food, the flavor changes. So experiencing the change in flavor as we eat, putting the utensil down and just enjoying the taste of the food, even after swallowing the food, and noticing how long might it take for the flavor to dissolve from the mouth. So really elongating the activity of eating and enjoying it mindfully, and checking in with ourselves again. So how is my stomach feeling? How is my heart feeling? All of these different senses. And by the end, there's such a deep connection to the food. I really think that it helps to digest the food better. And so, that's while eating. And then later in the day, checking in again. You feel hungry? Okay, what's hungry? Which one of my 9 hungers is queuing me up?
It made me think then about my husband. So Connor eats really fast, like really, really quickly. And like literally just shovels it in. So before he's even finished that mouthful, he's got the next mouthful ready and waiting at his lips. And I often say to him, like, slow down. You need to slow down. Because then I notice then that I then rush a little bit as well because he's rushing and I'm like rushing. And I don't do it as much now, but even when we went away a few weeks ago and we had we were staying in this like cottage and we got a takeaway, and because he'd left himself too long, so he was really, really hungry, that he just was like piling it in and then getting more and then piling it in, and I'm like, slow down, like slow down. But he's been able to kind of connect it to his childhood and that his brother would eat really fast and Connor had to eat really fast so that his brother then didn't come and take his dinner away from him as well, like steal it off his plate sort of thing. So it's really, yeah, it just makes you think, doesn't it? Just these conversations making me kind of think and connect. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think so many people experience that, especially with siblings in childhood. Yeah. Especially with 2 brothers, I'm sure, Tess.
Oh, yes, completely. Yes, I also struggle with eating too fast. And I definitely know it's because, like, you know, hey, 2 older brothers, one who is like I don't know what's the right term, but like doesn't stop eating. I think he started to slow down now in his 40s. Like the amount of food that my eldest brother can eat is impressive.
And it's not even big, is it?
No,
Yeah.
he's tiny. I mean, he's not tiny, but he's thin, he's fit.
Yeah. He's got a high metabolism.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Well, Lillie, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been such a fun time to really kind of have this exploration of these different hungers, something I hadn't ever really thought of. Like different parts of my body can connect to hunger in different ways. So I really appreciate that. As you know, we love to finish our episodes with a happy edit tool. So we were wondering what tool you suggest people try out this week.
Oh, I definitely suggest exploring the different types of hunger for sure in this next week. Just notice, just become aware. You don't have to change anything, but just become aware of one thing is, how are you feeling when you're feeling hungry, in your heart? Are you trying to comfort yourself, or are you, maybe you're really hungry and in your stomach and you need the food? Maybe you do want to eat fast because you're super hungry, and your body needs the sugar or the glucose. But also becoming more aware of these more subtle hungers, like touch and, touching the food and the hand to mouth connection and the smell and the sound of food, crunching or slurping, or, just become aware of these things and see what you find out with some curiosity.
I love that.
That sounds
I
brilliant.
love that. Definitely
It sounds
something I will
great.
do more of.
Yes, I think we all can benefit more from this type of practice.
Definitely. As I'm sat here, I'm thinking, I am so full because I had a big bowl of soup before we came on.
And I'm personally thinking, this conversations make me really hungry because I haven't eaten this afternoon yet. So there you go. There you go. Well, thank you again, Lillie, for joining us. How can people find you if they want to book an appointment with you for nutrition or learn more about the ashram?
Yeah, go onto our website, www.aryuryoga-ashram.com. Maybe we can link it in the thing.
It'll be in the show notes.
It'll be in the show notes. And email us. Email us at info@aryuryoga-ashram.com. And I'm the person behind the emails. So just let me know that you're interested to learn more about nutrition, or if you'd like some nutritional support. I'm so happy to connect with you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Lillie, for joining us today. It's been lovely to speak with you again.
Yeah, it's so fun to come on here. Thanks for having me.
And thank everyone for joining us today. As per usual, if you enjoyed this episode, share it with your friends. If you learned something beneficial and you think someone else would find it interesting, share it with them. Please rate the podcast, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to reach out and just say hi to us, come and join us on Instagram at the.happyedit. And yeah, thank you again for being here with us and listening to this full episode about taste, nutrition, and the 9 hungers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
At the Happy Edit podcast, we're mindful that the podcast is not in replacement of therapy. If you do need further support, please do contact us on our contact details in the show notes. And we're more than happy to offer further support and guidance and direct you to places like the counselling directory or therapy directories. If you do also need further support, we would also recommend you contacting your primary healthcare provider. Thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you all soon.